Welcome back to Keep Expecting Miracles. My name is Ilissa.
And I'm Jessica.
Hi, everybody. How are you doing, Jessica?
I am doing well, feeling very nice, very good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm feeling relaxed too. I feel like I'm in a good space.
Good. I love
Yes.
to hear that.
Yes, we want to continue with the series that has to do with water. This episode, we discuss water as the theme, specifically as it relates to flow.
Mm.
That is one of the main pillars in our mission statement is flowing with life. And so we're just like, oh, of course water goes with that because what does water
Mhm.
do? It flows. So we wanted to talk about that. So we're going to get right into the I am segment of our show, which is really the heart. I keep saying the meat, but I'm like, I think it's the heart of our show.
Mhm. Mhm.
It represents us, what we do for self-care. I am that I am in our full goddess energy, what we share with the world, and is how we represent ourselves. So today we're talking about um, water and flow, and specifically how it can be used as a metaphor for lessons in our life, and how we, if we don't like a situation or we don't like a circumstance, how are we flowing? What lessons are we learning? And how are we living with ease and intention?
I think the best thing to do and like to remember is just observing water. Observing how when you pour water into a bottle, it takes on that shape. When you pour water into the sink and it goes down the drain, it's like flowing to where it's open. It's open. It's open. Water is just ever changing. Let's say you're at work in an office, right? Or maybe not even at work. But somewhere bottled up. When I think about being in an office, like you have to stay there for multiple hours until it's time for you to go. You are there and you're doing a specific purpose in that time and space, and then you get released and then you move on to the next thing. And I don't want to say that we are tools, but if you think of us as God's hands and feet, like we are the moving parts of the earth. We are the ones that make changes. We are the ones, like, even our thought power makes those changes. Like, we can be used as tools. Like, I feel like you and I right now are being used as tools to even run this podcast, to bring this messaging out.
Yeah.
So, I feel like I kind of went all over the place there, but when I find if I mirror water and really understand the way that it acts and reacts, it's very, very helpful for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When I think about being in flow, I think about um, not being paralyzed and not stopping based on certain situations or certain
Mm.
circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
If the objective is to be in flow like water, it's, you can put boulders down in water and it's still going to figure out a way to move and get past the boulders. Why are you Jessica? Oh, she's pouring the water. I'm like, what the heck is she doing? If you're looking on YouTube, she's pouring tea. She's pouring tea, and so it's like it's a water coming out of a
Look,
tea
yeah, I'm
canister.
like, look, you and Flo, and I need more water right now.
Yeah, yeah, it's so
I'm
funny,
like, I
but
need more water right now. So, but
exactly.
continue.
If you think of like heavy boulders can be dropped in like a flowing rapids river and it's still going to move. And so just given the climate and what is going on right now, we can't be paralyzed by certain aspects of what is going on, because that is what they want. We can't shift our attention to fear based thinking because that is what they want. We have to focus on our resources of our communities that we have, our families, build your own strength and mobilize. Um Move. Um this is not the first time that our people, our ancestors have dealt with struggle. I think we were asleep for a very, very long time. I think we were under a guise of, oh, I mean, for a long time. I remember even being like back 2012, like there was an argument in one of my master's therapy classes, like, oh, people are not racist. Racism doesn't exist. And so, obviously, as a black person and other black people in the class, we would have to argue, like, yes, it does, even though it's not out there. And even though wasn't out there in your face at the time, we had to prove, like, in that class, like, it's still very much a part of people's thinking. And we're now seeing that is the case more loudly and clearly. Like, it is the foundation of a lot of people's being and way of living, and it's coming out and it's showing that, you know the diversity, multiculturalism, black people, brown people, they are not wanted in certain spaces. And it's very, very clear. And what do you do with that thought? I was just specifically looking at a post about the DEI rollback from all of these companies. And so we're trying to figure out, well, do we boycott? Do we shop with strategy and intentionality and only buy black from these places? What do we do? And it's like we're realizing, like, our money is going to people that don't care about us. And so I was just looking at the comments. And of course, this could be some little dweeb on the internet, like in his little chair. I don't even know. That's how I'm imagining him. But somebody made a comment and said, yeah, make the stores clean again, get everybody out.
Hold up.
And
What?
I'm just like, people are really sitting up here being out in the open with this racism now.
Okay, see, I have a hard time believing or okay, I have a hard time. Yes, I have a hard time believing that people can be like this. I know history. I know, what my family, even watching my own mother go through things. I know how society is and has been, but for that to be now and to see it in the here and now, I have also read comments not like that and not about DEI, but just other things where I'm just like, okay, they don't know what they're talking about. Like, they're whatever. Karma, you get out, you get back what you put out into the world. I would not have ever, I can't even imagine someone developing the thought frame of mind to say that you need to clean the store. That doesn't
But that is what I'm talking about. We've been
make
under a
any sense.
guise that you can't believe it because they wanted us to believe that they didn't think that way, but they actually do.
So I had a very similar experience in college to what you were saying about having to tell the people in class about I can't remember what class it was, but basically like, well, everyone has the same opportunities. And, they're just like, everyone can do, everything. Like, if I can go and pay for college on credit, you can too. And so the way that I stayed in flow at that time,
Mm.
unfortunately, was because I had to become the raging waters. I had to rise up, and as the
Mm.
only black person in this class, I went to University of Central Florida, and I did have a very difficult time with the years that I was there. I had a very difficult time recognizing that I was only ever one of two black students who was going to become a teacher at the time, out
Mm.
of all of those classes. I'm like, how?
Mhm.
For 2 years, you know?
Mhm.
So I'm in this class again. The instructor also was a Caucasian man. However, he was an educator who also used to be a educator on a tribe for a tribal nation. I don't remember which one. I don't remember which state he was living in, but he would teach those children of a certain tribe. And he was basically educating the class. And still, people were saying, no, that's not true. Like, they should be able to do like I did or like my family has done. And so, I'm there and I'm literally speaking along with the professor. I'm like, you're not understanding
Yeah.
when your state of mind, like our state of mind is so limiting, you
Yeah.
know? Like
Yeah.
it's not just the fact that people of color, or I mean, I always like to be politically correct, but it's not the fact that Black people don't have access to things. It's the fact that we can't even see it
Yes.
because it's not shown to us.
Yes.
Some even simple things. Well, we should go about this that way, or we should be able to go and do that. No, we don't even know what we have access to. And that is what these programs showed us. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
well, here are the different ways that you can actually do this.
Right. Well,
Here.
and you make a good
Mhm.
point. You can't access something if you're in survival mode.
That
You
part.
know, you can't, whether it's from witnessing trauma on a daily basis in your community,
Hmm.
experiencing trauma from the police,
Hmm.
in your own household, whether it's, you're experiencing hunger.
Mm.
When I was a therapist, I can't even tell you how many kids, they needed to eat the school's food because they
Yeah.
did not have food at home. Um, you cannot access additional resources when you're trying to meet your basic needs. And that's
Exactly.
what people don't realize is, we're, you know, our communities are facing things that don't allow them to access resources and realms unless people are there showing them, bringing it to them, putting it in their faces, as well as giving aid in their basic needs and necessities too. So you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. We want to continue on with this episode, and just give reverence to the people that came before us. And we
Hmm.
know that our ancestors specifically crossed great waters and survived the Middle Passage, and stayed firm and strong. I'm getting chills as I say that, and we want to honor them right now,
Mm.
because we wouldn't be here if they didn't
Yeah.
survive that. If they didn't survive going through the Middle Passage and being on the water,
Hmm.
holding them, guiding them, even if it was being enslaved and tortured and in the conditions that they had to be in on those ships, they survived that, and it's with that strength that we're able to speak and share this message now. But
Hmm.
we want to move on and go to our manifestation segment on, um, how we manifest. Um,
Yes, yes, that is
and
such a great lead-in. I'm so gratitude, so much gratitude for you for saying that. All of that. Yeah, so the I said what I said segment is where we discuss um what we are looking forward to happening in our lives, whether it's on the podcast, through the podcast, whether it's our personal lives or your life. Please write into us, send us a DM on Instagram, send us an email to keep expecting miracles at gmail.com, with whatever you're manifesting, what you want to bring into your life, as well as maybe what you've already manifested. We want to hear your stories, amplify your voices. We are amplifying ours. And we are discussing today, again, being in flow. And I just wanted to put out a reminder, okay? For this segment today, I wanted to put out a reminder, as I said before a little earlier, is that things are ever changing. And right now, things are changing rapidly.
Mhm.
We, right now, in this timeline, are, you can call it maybe shifting. We are shifting, 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 shifting every day. We are not aware of everything that is going on within our society at the moment, in the United States, and we cannot be aware of that, right? So my my thing is, I'm like, yeah, I want to be in flow, but I need to be in my own flow.
Mhm.
What is going on for me right now?
Mhm.
That is
Mhm.
what I have to focus on, because
Mhm.
there are so many things that are changing, just so much that you'll get whiplash, you'll get stressed out.
Yeah.
And the thing is that because things are always changing, that'll take you away from what you're actually here to do, what you actually need to do, and from
Mhm.
what you want. Because
Mhm.
then you'll feel like, you may just it'll turn your boat in the other direction.
Mhm.
And you need to have your endpoint, exactly where it's at. And so with that is, I feel like it's necessary to say to Rhonda Byrne. I was watching her video again the other day, and she was like, you're manifesting all the time, whether you're trying to do it or not. Like, it's literally a law. Like, it's happening. That's how we live.
Mhm.
That's how we do
Mhm.
things. That's how we create things. Manifestation is through action. And so it's, you don't, right now, we have to and focus, hone in and focus on what our specific end goals are for us. And like, where are we going? Where is the nose of our boat pointed to? Where are we
Mhm.
headed?
Mhm.
Because there are too many things that it can be traumatic, the amount
Mhm.
of ways that we have to shift and shift and shift and shift if we're looking at everything that's going on in our society right now.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. When I was listening to Gaia, she was saying that the people that she was helping last weekend, particularly, she could sense the fear. She doesn't live in the United States. She lives in New Zealand, so only if she watches the world news does she know what's happening in our country, and obviously if she talks to other people. But she says it, and I'm presuming that she was doing readings on people from the United States, because she was saying that there's just a lot of fear. And I am a very sensitive, very, very sensitive person. Like Jessica said, things are changing rapidly. Like every day there's another news story, there's another. And what keeps me going is that our ancestors, close ancestors, face harder times than this, and here we are. They were
That's a
able to.
word. That's a word.
Yes, like,
We can leverage this.
we can leverage this. This is not, you know, I'm so sensitive and fearful that I asked Donnell, I'm like, they just said that ICE just went into an elementary school in Chicago. Like, what if, stuff like that starts happening? What are we gonna do? Like, what, I am the type of person that I'm so protective of my energy and the people around me and my family. Like, I'm almost like an escaper. So I'm just like, we got to be prepared to go somewhere. What are we doing? What's going on? Like, do we have our passports ready? Do we have stuff ready? And so he's just like, he he now doesn't brush off what I say. The thing that he says to me, because he's not affected by stuff like that. He's just like, everything's gonna be okay. He's like, repeat to yourself, everything is going to be okay.
Because it is.
And so
It
I
is.
had to repeat that to myself, and think about what my ancestors have gone through in terms of slavery, even after slavery, all the things that they had to endure with segregation, and just and then integration into being the first black people to do things in spaces, and like, and I always will say that I'm so grateful to be born during this time because I didn't have to experience that. And what we have to do is not meet whatever is going on with resistance.
Mm. And that is how you stay in flow, but it is so hard to release that resistance. And I feel like that goes back to the first episode of this series about water, is that we were, you know, talking about, I made a, said, talked about how we took my mom to a water park called Aquatica and had her release herself in the water. She had a hard time doing that. And
Mhm.
it's that releasing the resistance. So like, whoa, but if I don't control where this is what I'm doing, right? If I don't control what's happening right now, then we're not going to get there. And like, now is
Mhm.
your time to really see and know and show yourself just how God and just how God, how the spiritual realm, how the heavenly realm is going to operate in your life. Now is
Mm.
your time to be that product. You
Mhm.
hear these stories about miracles happening all the time, and it can happen for you.
Mhm.
It's going to happen for us, because if when anything comes in that's disruptive in the way that it's disruptive like this,
Mhm.
what ends up happening?
Mhm.
Miracles.
Mhm.
Miracles begin to
Yeah.
happen. Lives begin
Yeah.
to change. Things just that we just a script is flipped, and all of a sudden we're like, whoa, when did this even happen? But
Mhm.
because we were on the boat and going along with the tide, right? We're not going against it. We're flowing with it.
Mhm.
We're flowing with it.
Mhm.
You allow yourself to receive the manifestations that you're looking for, that you're wanting, and oftentimes it ends up being better than you ever thought it could even be.
Mhm.
You end
Mhm.
up in a better space. And I want to mention something that you told me the other day, where you were like, hey, you need an anchor. You were like, you need a new anchor. And so I'm like, that goal that we have, that manifestation that we're, you know, like looking for, or that we're calling in, that is your anchor. That is our
Mhm.
anchor right now.
Mhm.
What is my
Speaking of
anchor?
Speaking of anchor, we're gonna move into our I got a nerve for that
Mm.
segment, because those can be used as anchors. Those can be
Yes.
used as a tool to ground, anchor, and just bring you into the present moment. So today we're highlighting, this segment is where we highlight herbs that we've aligned with, that we've experienced ourselves, that we've shared with our communities and our families. And so today we want to talk about slippery elm.
I love slippery elm.
Me
It's one of my
too.
one of my favorites.
Yes, I love it. I really do.
Hmm. Yeah. So the Latin name for slippery elm is Ulmus rubra, and it's slippery elm is the inner bark of the elm tree. It's very, very nutritious. It is astringent. It's also anti-inflammatory, has anti-inflammatory properties. It's a demulcent. So it helps with coughs. It soothes diarrhea. It's just a really good plant to hydrate you. It also is really good for making sure that our tissues are moisturized.
Hmm.
So if
Hmm.
you look at any of the, oh, look, I'm gonna put a cheat code in here right now. If you look at any of those pills, the vaginal pills that
Hmm.
insert or take anything to help with the lubrication, when you're talking about anything sexual, you will see ulmus rubra as the plant
Slippery
that is
elm.
used. And that is just some slippery elm. So go
Yep.
ahead, get your slippery elm, drink that tea.
Yes. Yes. My experience with slippery elm was way before I even started to learn about herbs. Is I had seen somebody, a yoni guru. I wish I remembered her name. A long time ago on Instagram, she uh recommended tinctures for sexual health, more
Ah,
specifically
okay.
for cleansing your juices, letting the juices flow, being more wet.
Mm-hmm.
So she recommended taking chlorophyll and slippery elm just to
Wow.
moisten down there to just be more, slippery and wet.
Look, and when things are flowing,
Yes,
right? When it's flowing, it's clear. It's
yes,
clean and
yes,
open for reception.
yes. Men and
It's
women can
clear.
take it. Men and women can
Mm-hmm.
take it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's something that's important to note. Yes. It has
Yes.
such good properties.
Yeah.
So it also helps with the muscle of the lungs. It
Mm.
also helps with the muscle. I had a customer that approached me once where she was like, "Do I take?" She was asking, between two different herbs, which I can't remember the other one right now. But I was like, "Well, is it mucusy or is it like just like pain?" And she was like, "Oh,
Mhm.
it's just, there's no mucus. It's just pain." So I'm like, "Oh, just slippery elm. Just hydrate the tissues." And she
Mhm.
came back months later and she was just raving. She's like, "My husband is 10 times better. He's taking the
Oh,
medication and he's taking that." And just like, "Thank you." I
wow.
wanted to cry. I was like, "Oh my god." I'm like, but it's
Yeah.
not me, it's the plants. But I'm like, I'm so glad you were able to come here to receive that. So yeah, I love
Yeah.
slippery elm. I take it as an extract, and that's what that he was taking. That's what the customer was taking, was the extract. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially cold and flu season still is like it really helps with your throat, like soothe your
Mm-hmm.
throat and just, you know, like you said, just moisten the tissues. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
I
we're
love
gonna
it as
move
a
into
tincture. I love it as a tincture. Hopefully, they can be one of our sponsors. I'm not gonna mention them because we need to be sponsored by them. But it's a very well known. You can get it at your local Walgreens or Amazon tincture, or Jessica can make us some and sell them,
yes.
so we can have our own slippery elm tinctures.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I got it.
Oh, you do
That's
have
what I
it.
use.
Okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
so
have
I
it.
need to buy some from you then.
Yeah, it's good. It tastes good too. I like the flavor.
Yeah, check out highvibeherbals.com
Yes.
for your
Yes.
wellness needs, herbal wellness needs. But so we're gonna move right along to our last segment.
Witchy
Witchy
shit.
shit. We're to close out our water theme series. We wanted to highlight the goddess of Yemaya.
Yes. And I
And
think that is so fitting. So fitting right
yeah,
now,
yes,
especially with what we were just talking about during um really this whole episode with being in flow. Um so I want
yeah,
to do you want to show the card while I'm reading? So
yes.
those of you who are on YouTube, you will be able to see the card. If you're not on YouTube, go ahead and go to the video once you're done driving, whatever you're doing. Go to our YouTube channel so that you can see this beautiful card. So we are reading from African Goddess Rising Oracle Guidebook. This is by Abiola Abrams. Alyssa and I have read her book, African Goddess Rising, the book by Abiola Abrams. Highly recommend it. She walks you through different portals of self discovery, and just these are actual people. Okay, these are goddesses, but there are many who were actual people that lived and walked this earth. So we're reading about Yamaya. She's the goddess of awakening. And this is in Yoruba and Nigerian beliefs. She is from the Temple of High Priestesses, that is specific to Abiola Abrams' path. And the elements is water. So Goddess Yamaya controls the ocean, the amniotic fluid that nurtures us before we know ourselves, the healing,
Mm,
loving energy of this Yoruba mother. Orisha never leaves you. And for those who don't know, an Orisha is another word for an African deity. So her guidance, Yamaya's guidance is wake up,
mm,
awaken now to your true self. Are those tears of joy or sorrow? Let them out. Yamaya swallows your tears. Mm. If you think of Yamaya as the ocean, as the water, that's what's happening. That's how we're carried, right?
mhm,
And we carried and
mhm.
we are in flow. embodiment. You are vibrating at a higher frequency, so you see everything differently. This is Goddess rising. You are waking up. And once you have experienced awakening, you can never go back to not knowing. The path of awakening is not straight, comfortable, or easy. You have chosen to lift the veil and have a real relationship with the divine. You didn't come to transcend this world while you're living in it. You came here to dig into the soil, plant yourself, and grow. This ascension is your divine purpose, Goddess declaration, or you can also think of it as an affirmation. I am receiving and radiating love. And you asked the question earlier about what do we do during this type of time? We receive and we radiate love.
Mm,
I
mm.
think that's our answer right
Why?
there.
What the mantra bracelet that I have on right now specifically? It says "Bloom where you are planted."
Oh, ooh, I got chills.
Yes, yes,
Okay, those look in real time as you're listening to this. These are the coincidences that's how we stay spiritually connected. That is
yes.
how God speaks to us and through us.
Mhm,
Reading this, seeing that something we already had plus
mhm,
something. I mean, we both had that, but having this discovery at the same time.
mhm.
That is the answer. That is what we can do, and we will make it through. And we're not just going to make it through, we're going to rise.
Yes, yes.
Rise, goddess,
Yes,
rise.
guys. Thank you guys for listening. We hope that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on social media at Keep Expecting Miracles Pod. Follow me at Ilissa Explains It All and Jessica.
At Jessica the Brand.
We'll see you guys later. Until next time. Bye bye.
Bye.